Hi, am
Hi,
I
am I?
audible?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Um, yeah, so I'm Simran. I'm in my final semester of accounting here at Seneca. I actually really love economics, and I'm excited to uh, be part of this course and learn more. I'm not sure if the Zoom link for this class is where it regularly is. I just found the Zoom link through the announcement that you made. Um,
So, so I think I'll adjust that. There might be is it usually under announcements or so I'll bring up the course here. Where is the Zoom link usually? Which which part of the class here? Oh, it might be this one actually.
So it's usually for part one, there's a folder called Zoom Live Sessions, and I don't see a folder for Zoom Live Session in part two.
Okay. Two, okay. Um, okay, so I put that under so I put that under two now. And then I'll put it under one also. Okay, there's one person that found it. Okay. Okay, I tried sending an email with the link. Um I tried to sending it. I'll try sending it again. Um so so I did through messages here. Sent it to all students here. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'll try to send it to everyone in the class. I'll see that. So uh all course members, Zoom, 10:45 a.m. Hopefully this gets through. Okay, let me know if you received that. Okay. That's what I have to select. Okay, so I sent that. Hopefully it gets through. I
Yeah,
think
I received that now, the
okay,
email
great,
you just
great.
sent.
Sounds good. Oh, great. So the the link will be the same every class. So just I'll send it again and say like same link every class. Yeah, so same Zoom meeting for every class at 10:45 a.m. So I'll put that in. So you just have to use the same one. And then I'll send it every time. And then just make sure I click that. So thank you for supporting me with that. I appreciate that. So the so here's so this is my LinkedIn just to send it to all of you. So Nishtha, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Nishta. I'm an international student and I'm currently in my fifth semester for accounting and finance program.
Excellent. Nice to meet you, Nishtha. Thank you for sharing. So I think we'll get started, and anyone else who comes in can will join in. And if you talking to anyone from the class right now, just let them know about this link. Hopefully everyone hopefully everyone got the email. Uh, yeah, but like if you're talking to anyone, just let them know that this is a new link. And yeah, so I was talking to Simran about my background. I've been teaching at Seneca since 2020. I've been teaching business and economics, and I teach currently at a few places, and I'm going to bring a lot of that into this course. So today we're going to go through aggregate demand and aggregate supply, and thank you to Jason Dean. I know Jason. He made this PowerPoint presentation, and Jason, I've known him for years, and he's great. So yeah, very great guy. I've worked for him. Very good person. So let's get started. So we're going to go through aggregate demand and how the downward slope is a result of the real balances effect, the interest rate effect, and the foreign trade effect, and talk about the factors that shift aggregate demand. We're going to define aggregate supply and explain how it differs in the immediate short run, the short run, and the long run, and explain the factors that shift aggregate supply, explain how aggregate demand and aggregate supply determine an economy's equilibrium price level and real GDP, and use the aggregate demand, aggregate supply model to explain demand pull inflation, cost plus inflation, and recession. So aggregate demand is a curve that shows the amount of real output, real GDP that buyers want to purchase at any given price level. So buyers can include households, businesses, and government, and those include located in other nations. So there's an inverse or negative relationship between the price level and the amount of real GDP that's demanded. So if the price level goes up, real GDP goes down. If the price level goes down, real GDP increases. So that's that's the relationship. The price level goes up, real GDP goes down. Price level goes down, real GDP goes up. So that's how that works there. So I'm just gonna be right back in 1 second. Okay, so the next slide is the relationship that shows here. So as you can see, if price level goes down like this, real GDP goes up. So you can see that there's an inverse relationship. So inverse relationship means as price goes down, real GDP goes up. So that's what it is here for demand. So hi Faye, you were in one of my classes in previous semester, right? Was it? Okay, so I'll share this in the chat. So everyone who came in, sorry about the mix up with the Zoom link. So this is the new Zoom link. It's the same one for every class. So just use this one every class for the semester. To introduce myself, I introduce myself to Nistha and Simran. I'm Michael Johnson, and I've been teaching at Seneca since 2020. And I mostly teach business and economics for the most part, and math courses. So it's great to teach all of you today and for the rest of the semester. And yeah, you can reach me at my email, michael.johnson@senecacollege.ca. And so Nishtha and Simran have introduced themselves so far. Does Louis want to introduce themselves right now?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Louie. I'm taking accounting program, and hopefully this is my last semester, and I'm looking forward to interact with you guys.
Nice to meet you, Louis. Thank you for sharing. And Faye, I believe, I think you were in one of my earlier classes in previous semester. Do you want to introduce yourself? Oh, that's all right. Yeah, if later in the class if you do, it's totally up to you. Thank you everyone for sharing. So let's keep going on this, and then anyone else who comes in will give them some minutes to talk about themselves and what they want to, what types of jobs they're looking for, what their goals are, etc. So aggregate demand is real GDP desired at each price level. It's an inverse relationship. So like we said before, as price goes down, real GDP goes up. Yeah, so that's the and this is due to the real balances effect, interest effect, and foreign purchases effect. So it's due to a few factors, and those are the factors that would lead to that. So let's put this in the chat here. So here so a change in one of the more of the listed determinants of aggregate demand would shift aggregate demand curve. So here aggregate demand increasing like this. This would be caused by an increase in demand. So I'll ask the class, what are factors that increase demand? So increased spending. So increased spending is a good one. Increased spending would be a good one. Price wouldn't. Price wouldn't because it would keep the curve at the same place. It would just be a movement along the curve. So anything price related, it would just roll along the curve. So like if the price goes down, output like that. So if price goes down, it would be a movement down the curve where real GDP increases. Yeah, and then here, if spending increases, aggregate demand shifts right. So yeah. So then net imports, so that's a good, so for net imports, it would, so if net imports increase, aggregate demand for foreign goods would increase. Yeah, so that's what if net imports increase, that's what would happen here. Yeah. So for foreign goods, so you're buying more foreign goods, and the demand for those goods would increase. Yeah. So that's a good point. Yeah, good job on that. That would be a good. So that would be for foreign goods. That's great. Good point on that, Simran. And Louis, great work, both of you. So I'm just gonna put this in the chat here. And also, like I said before, if anyone is talking to students that aren't in class right now, just let them know about this new link. But so few people just came in, Furley and Minji. So do you want to introduce yourselves? Oh, that's okay, Minji. If you want to share it in the chat, it's up to you. Furley, if you want to share it in the chat, or oh, that's okay, Minji. Yeah. If you want to do it next class, that's great. And Furley, do you want to introduce yourself? Excellent. Oh, that's great. That's great, Minji. Excellent. Nice to meet you. Oh, that's all right. Chat works too. That's great. Yeah, thanks, Minji. And yeah, great to meet you. So let's move to the next slide here. So I put this in the chat for everyone's record. So the rightward shift of the AD curve from aggregate demand 1 to aggregate demand 2, it represents an increase in aggregate demand. So this would be an increase in aggregate demand, and this is due to an increase in income, increase in spending. So like anything related to that, increase in income, increase in spending, increase in GDP, that would cause aggregate demand to increase. Yeah, so that's what would happen here if yeah, so that would cause the aggregate demand to increase. So that's and then the leftward shift would show a decrease in aggregate demand. So I'll bring this back here. So this would be due to, so like Alaska, the class, what would cause the decrease in aggregate demand? So yeah, Simran says tax increase. That's a good point. Raise an interest rate, that's a good point too. Yeah, that's true. Inflation, uh, inflation would increase aggregate demands. Um, yeah, so uh, yeah, so it would increase aggregate demand, higher inflation. Yeah, decline in investment would reduce aggregate demand. That's great, Louis. Yeah. Yeah, so like all of that, those are good examples of what would reduce aggregate demand. Less spending too. Yeah, that's great. Excellent. So yeah, the everyone kind of talked all the about great factors that would reduce aggregate demand. So yeah, consumer wealth reduction would reduce aggregate demands. Household borrowing reduction would reduce aggregate demands. Uh, consumer expectations going down would reduce aggregate demand. And then higher personal taxes would reduce aggregate demand. And then the opposite is true. So if you go the opposite direction, it will go the opposite way. So if you go the opposite direction, that would increase aggregate demand. So yeah, so I'll put this in the chat too. So Minji's right. Inflation increases would increase interest rate. So that would then reduce aggregate demand in the long run. Yeah, so you make a good point, but in the short run, higher inflation would increase aggregate demand. Yeah. So like yeah, higher inflation in short run would increase aggregate demand. Then higher inflation in long run would reduce aggregate demand because they would raise interest rates to reduce the inflation and unaffordability, and that would slow down the economy. So real interest rates. So real interest rates, they're influenced by expectations about future business conditions, technology, degree of excess capacity, and business taxes. So I'll ask the class, how are real interest rates influenced by these factors below? So I'll put this in the chat here, and you can during class just brainstorm answers to this question during class. Yeah. So yeah, like I'll leave that for you. So Simran says if expectations about future business conditions are positive, real interest may stay competitive and stable. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point, Simran. Exactly. Yeah, so like that's a great point there. Yeah. So yeah, think about other how the other factors impact real interest rates, and then just send me answers that you think of for that. So here, government spending increases. So aggregate demand increases as long as the interest rates and tax rates do not change. So more computers for government agencies, that would increase government spending. And then an increase in government spending would increase aggregate demand. And then aggregate demand decreases when government spending decreases. So less transportation projects would be example of that. So if there are less transportation projects, government spending decreases. Yeah. So yeah, government spending is highly correlated with aggregate demand. So net exports spending. So national income abroad. So rising national income abroad encourages foreigners to buy more products, some of which that are made in Canada. So if there's more money being made through, if other countries are making more money, they can buy more of our goods. So like if the US becomes like if the US economy grows faster than Canada, they are going to have more money to spend on our goods. So Canada's net exports will increase. Yeah. So last the class, what happens to net exports when dollar depreciation happens? Yeah, net exports increases, yes. So net exports increase because our products are now cheaper due to our cheaper dollar. Yeah. So that's how they do this to yeah, because a lower dollar value makes exports cheaper and imports expensive. Yeah, perfect, Simran. That was great. Yeah, so that's how they get more exports, and this is good for their economy. So it's good for the economy to depreciate the currency because there is more net exports. So they bring in more money into the economy. So that's very important here. Yeah. So let's do is schedule a curve showing the relationship between price level of output and the amount of real domestic output firms in the economy produced. So it depends on immediate short run, and long run, and we'll go deeper into that in the next slide. So in the immediate short run, both input prices and output prices are fixed. So they don't change. So like prices don't change in the immediate short run. And then in the immediate short run, the aggregate supply curve is horizontal, price doesn't change. So any quantity any quantity demanded will be supplied in the immediate short run. So they will provide any amount that is demanded. So like 1,000, e.g. like 1,000 units, 10,000 units, 1 million units. They will supply whatever is demanded here. So that's here. It's it either like every type of quantity will be provided at that level. So in the immediate short run, the aggregate supply curve is horizontal at the economy's current price level, and they supply the level of output that's demanded at those prices. And so like they'll provide any output that's demanded in this case. Yeah. So like any level of output that the economy wants, they'll provide basically at this stage here in the immediate short run. Like any demand they have, any quantity they want will be provided. I'll put this in the chat here. So the short run begins after the immediate short run ends. So output prices are flexible in the short run. So in the short run, output prices can change, but input prices are like basically don't change at all. So that's what would happen. So output prices can change in the short run, but input prices basically don't change at all. So I'll ask the class what industries would this like what industries would have this in the short run? So an input price is good question. So input price is the price of like building a unit, a product. So like the price, the cost of producing a unit of the product. So like for example, the price, the cost of creating a unit of Pepsi can. So that's what an input price is. And so for example, Pepsi would have a fixed cost of producing cans. And then yes, they have a fixed cost of producing cans in the short run. It doesn't change that much in the short run. So like why do you think the input price of Pepsi would be fixed in the short run? So the reasons why would be mostly because of the factories, property, plant and equipment, are already paid for. And they don't change. They're not sold, and they are not sold or bought in the short run. That's why. But in the long run, they could be sold. So as Simran said, they have higher fixed costs in the short run, for example, machinery and cans, etc. Meanwhile, for a clothing company, prices and material and labor can increase costs. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So in the short run, the factory's property and plant and equipment are already paid for and not sold or bought in the short run. So that's why. So good job, Simran. That was great. So I'll put this in the chat here. So here, aggregate supply in the short run. The upward sloping aggregate supply curve, AS, indicates direct or positive relationship between the price level and the amount of real output that firms will offer for sale. The AS curve is relatively flat below the full employment output. It is relatively steep beyond the full employment output. So this is an example of the aggregate short run aggregate supply curve here. So so price so as price increases, aggregate supply increases. So because so like I'll ask you, why does aggregate supply increase when price increases? So what happens is that the company will get more money for selling a product when so yeah, that's a good point, Louis. Yeah, that's another good point there. Um so like so I'll bring your answer in too. So there, if the price goes up, more firms will enter. And because there is more profit to be made selling a product due to the higher price. So more products will be produced because there will be more money to be made due to the higher price. So Louis brought up a good point that more firms will come in. Higher price, higher profit incentive. Yeah, so Simran's correct. Yeah, higher price, higher profit incentive. So that's exactly what happens. So Simran and Louis brought up good points there. Louis and Simran said that, yeah, there's more incentive to higher price. So they're going to produce more. And that's just how it works here. But the real question is, will people buy more? The next question is will people buy more if the price goes up? So then that is answered by aggregate demand. So aggregate supply and aggregate demands are both battling it out to determine how many products are sold. The buyer, like the seller, wants the highest price they can sell it for. So Simran says depends on the product type, but I think aggregate demand will be negatively affected by price increase. Yes, exactly. Simran's correct. So the buyer wants the lowest price they can buy it for. And the seller and buyer negotiate a price that is at equilibrium. So they have to negotiate and determine a price that works for both parties, both the consumer and producer. So this is similar to salary negotiations, to like pay negotiations. The employer wants to pay the employee the lowest possible pay. The employee wants to get paid the highest possible pay. The employer and employee negotiate until achieving the equilibrium pay. So like they are both negotiating until they reach a deal on equilibrium pay. So yeah, that's how negotiation works for the most part. Yeah. So I'll put this in the chat here, this link. So if you're negotiating pay, be persistent. Just keep negotiating. So the best thing to do for negotiating pay, negotiate until you get fair pay. Yeah, because you need to negotiate and try to get the pay that you think is fair. So that's very important for you because you need to make sure you're getting paid fairly. So aggregate supply in the long run. So for an economy as a whole, is the time horizon over which all output and input prices are fully flexible, begins after the short run ends. Price level changes do not affect firms' profits, and thus they create no incentive for firms to alter the output. So it's vertical in the long run, and input prices. So in the long run, input prices and output prices can change. So like for example, Pepsi can sell or buy factories in the long run. So they can change their factories, property, plants, and equipment in the long run. So they can change anything in the long run. Yeah. So I'll ask the class here. I'll put this in the chat here. So nice question is, what is the difference between long run aggregate supply and short run aggregate supply? Yeah, close. So Simran, so to just add something onto this, input prices are fixed in the short run, but not fixed in the long run. That's the only thing I add on to that, because output prices can change in short and long run, but input prices cannot change in short run. Input prices can only change in long run. So yeah, good job, Simran. That was good. So yeah, input prices, yeah. So total input, total output, or price level, or both A. So price level, good job, everyone. So which of the following is not a determinant of aggregate demand? Change in consumer spending, change in political parties, change in government spending, or change in investment spending? So it's change in political parties. Good job, everyone. And the foreign purchases effect suggests that a decrease in Canada's price level relative to other countries will shift the aggregate demand curve leftward, shift the aggregate supply curve leftward, or the other two options. So Simran is first, Minji is catching up, and close race for third. So increase Canada's exports and decrease Canada's imports. The aggregate supply curve short run slopes upward and to the right because changes in wages and other resource prices completely offset changes in the price level. Price level is flexible upward but inflexible downward. Supply creates its own demand. Wages and other resource prices adjust only slowly to changes in the price level. So wages and other resource prices adjust only slowly to changes in the price level. Good job, everyone. And then refer to the above diagram with the initial aggregate demands and supply curves are 80 knot and ES knot. The equilibrium price level of real domestic output will be what? So Minji and Simran, very close race for first, and very close race for third place also. So F and C respectively is the answer. So the intersection of the aggregate demand and aggregate supply curve occurs at the economy's equilibrium level of what? Nominal investment and interest rate, government taxes and employment, real disposable income and unemployment, and real domestic output and the price level. So real domestic output and the price level. So if exports from the United States increase, what would most likely happen to real gross domestic product and price level? Real GDP slash price level. Decrease slash decrease, increase slash increase, decrease slash increase, increase slash no change. So Minji is overtaking the lead now, and so gross domestic product would increase and price level would increase if exports from the United States increased. So a major advantage of automatic stabilizers and fiscal policy is that they reduce private debt, go into effect without passage of new legislation, they require a balanced budget, or they keep unemployment at 0%. So they go into effect without passage of new legislation. It's already in effect. Yeah. So it's always happening. Employment insurance is one of them. So employment insurance and the Canada Pension Plan, those are automatic stabilizers. So if at full employment, the government wants to increase its spending by $200 billion without increasing inflation in the short run, it must do which of the following? Raise taxes by more than $200 billion, raise taxes by less than $200 billion, lower taxes by $200 billion, or decrease the budget deficit. So raise taxes by more than $200 billion. And then according to Keynesian analysis, if government expenditures and tax are increased by the same amount, which of the following will occur? Simran is lead, Minji is second, Serena is third, Nishta is fourth. Great job, everyone. Good game. Great work, Simran, Minji, Serena, and everyone else in the class. Oh, sorry about that, Nirvan. I'll next time I'll provide all the time. Sorry about that. So great job, Simran, Pearly, Louis, Minji, Nirvan, Nishtha, and Serena. Excellent work, everyone. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, sorry about that, Nirvan. Apologize. So let's take 10 minutes. So yeah, so for bathroom, coffee, eat something. So let's come back at 12:22. So yeah, we'll keep going at 12:22 and yeah, just keep going. So see you in 10 minutes, everyone.